This is Flipping the Script podcast, the soon-to-be #1 leadership podcast for purpose-driven leaders and great guest experts who give us a unique insight into what leadership looks like behind the scenes. I'm Shalia Stafford, your host, and I'm committed to helping you lead your challenges using leadership strategies to gain new perspectives, fuel your growth, and transform the way you execute on your success. Welcome back, everyone. It's Shalia here. What are the guarantees in life when it comes to creating a life of experiences, wisdom, and health? Throughout the evolving seasons of life, we will experience new and evolving chapters with twists and turns as we embark on new horizons that require us to lead the complexities of success in life. And while there aren't many things in life that we can guarantee, the fact that you will experience challenges in your life is one of them. Whether we're leading in our careers, our business, or within our families, we're tasked with creating a solid foundation to withstand the challenges that will come our way. To build this foundation, we require a toolbox of strategies and tools to refine and evolve our capacity to lead what matters the most. So the question is, how do we optimize the creation of our work and the management of our finances to secure us options and resources to navigate what will be sometimes a bumpy road ahead? Joining us today to explore leadership through entrepreneurship and leadership facilitated by financial independence is Larry Towner. Larry is a serial entrepreneur with years of business and sales experience. His goal is to share his lifetime's worth of experiences with individuals looking to create businesses and achieve financial independence. He currently works as a handyman, real estate investor, podcaster, blogger, and business and marketing consultant. Larry, welcome to Flipping the Script, Leadership Beyond the Title. We are so excited to explore your journey today.
Are you sure? Because I'm just checking to make sure that you're...
Absolutely. I know that you have so many nuggets of wisdom, and I am so excited to explore literally the toolbox that you carry on most of your day-to-day basis.
It takes a whole van. I'm just saying,
There you go.
It takes the whole van. There's a few years of experience. So you're running this, so I should let you run it. As podcasters, we tend to try to run over the top of each other.
No, not at all. Look, I am excited. And as a tradition on the show, we like to ask our guests a few questions to get to know you a little bit better. Shall we fire away?
Fire away.
Okay. What is something that you're curious about today?
Today, it's interesting. So today, probably my biggest curiosity, kind of running on two veins. So I'm in the process of buying another rental house. So one of the things I'm really curious about is working on the complete rehab schedule for a house. This house I'm looking at is really a wreck. So it's basically ground up. It's almost like buying 4 studded out walls. So I'm worried about that one. The other thing is all this right now, we're recording this, the market is a tad volatile. And so I'm really curious about what this, and in my never to be humbled opinion, this is just a bit of panic and a bit of fear mongering. But what really drives the average person to take crazy steps at a time when they should be staying the course? Right? So those are what I'm curious about right now.
I love that. The sky is not falling.
It will be here tomorrow.
Yes.
It will be here.
So complete this thought. I wish I had paid more attention when...
When Dad gave me all those pearls of wisdom when I was a young guy.
So what is something that you understand today about your life that you didn't understand a year ago?
A year ago. I literally a year ago. So I met you through the Phi group, or the Choose Phi here in the greater Atlanta area. And I really didn't realize I had been practicing that for a very, very long time, but I guess I had never codified it. I never put it into one big package, right? So I've now sort of realized that there's this whole package around this concept, which I guess I should have just written it down 20 years ago, and I'd have it figured out. But that's something that I know about myself today that I did not know about myself a year ago.
What requires your patience?
Well, let's see. I have children, so that's one thing that always requires patience, right? And you're aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
In dealing with people, just in general, dealing with people requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, that it does. So what are some experiences that you're currently seeking to evolve or support your growth?
So that's a never-ending process,
Yes.
right? I think that lifelong learner. We are always looking for, I am a lifelong learner, so I am always looking for everything and anything that I can grab a hold of that I don't know something about. And lately, I've been trying to meet a lot of younger people that know a lot more about like the internet and the Internet of Things. So it's been kind of those kinds of that while I understand it, I don't really like intrinsically understand it, if that makes sense. There's lots of things I understand, but those are things that are they're getting there. They're getting there. So.
Well, hey, I can introduce you to my 6-year-old who seems to be more of a pro at it than I am these days.
And they always, so you're going to, this is your experience, but years and years ago when we had VHS tape machines, we used to laugh. You'd be in your 20s, you'd say, there's never a 9-year-old around when I need one to just be able to get your tape to record at the time. And that has not changed. The only thing that's changed is what you're working on, right? So today it's like, I can't figure out my phone. There's never a 6-year-old around when I need it.
Absolutely. It's so funny you say that because I had to take my kids the other day to Goodwill to find a VCR so I can introduce to them what VCR looked like and how it worked back in the days.
That's one of those trips down history lane.
Yeah.
Down memory lane. Wow. But anyway.
Okay, so imagine that your 109-year-old self had access to a time machine. They jumped into that time machine and they arrived at this very moment. They climb out, they sit next to you, and they give you advice. What would they say?
Today? They'd probably stay the course and buy.
Yeah.
That's what today. But we're very specific. Yeah. But in general in my life, they would tell me the things that I think that I actually already know, and that is live each day. So enjoy each day. Don't sacrifice on little things. Just enjoy your life because you don't get it back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So enjoy today. Carpe diem, as they say.
Yeah. Time is the only thing you can't buy.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm working on that, but that's a whole nother issue. Create that time.
So if you had to break up your life up until this point into 3 chapters and give each chapter a title, what would they be?
It would probably be childhood, which goes to about 13 or so. Then it would go to adolescence, and so far we haven't gotten out of adolescence.
You said you haven't gotten out of adolescence.
Right, I haven't gotten out of it yet. No, I would break it into 3 parts. There'd be childhood, there'd be adult, there'd be young adulthood, and then later adult. You
and I recently met up at a Choose FI Atlanta meetup group. For those who aren't familiar about what the financial independence movement is all about, can you give us a little bit of backgrounder on what it means to you?
Sure. Financial independence is really about freedom to me. It's about having the ability to not be dependent upon a job it's really about being dependent upon a job to cover your life expenses. So there's a couple of different ways to go about it. One is you earn more. One is you save more. One is you just live a relatively frugal lifestyle, or basically live a value-driven lifestyle. So when you combine all of those things, financial independence is how much money do you need that you no longer need to actually work for a living. Your investments take care of your living, and the investments come in basically 3 ways. It's savings, it's real estate, and then it's also in business. So I play in all 3 of those things because I'm kind of that way. But anyway, when you combine those 3 things, and it's as you figured out, it's not magic, right? Financial independence is not magic. It is hard work.
Yes.
It can be very hard work and very boring at times. It's really boring because it takes a fair amount of time.
Yes. So it takes discipline.
It is not get rich. Yeah, it takes it takes discipline, which really takes goals. And if you keep the goal in mind, you'll keep your discipline in place, right? You know that.
It's really a strategy too, right? And when most people hear you say that you reach financial independence, they often wonder, did you reach this place because you had a high salary, you had no children, or you inherited money? Was that what it was like for you?
That would be a negative. So just financial, and we've talked, you and I have talked, and we've talked in general about financial independence, and we consider it to be really, it's a relatively simple concept. It's instituting it that's the tough part, but it's based on compound interest, right? So it's all about compound interest. And if you understand the basics of compound interest, you can get to financial independence. You might not do it today. It's going to be a 10-year plus program. You can get lucky and do it faster, but it's going to be 10 plus years. And if you go out and you just want to be financially independent, create a gap between your savings and or between your earnings and your spending. That's called savings. Take the savings and do something with it, either invest it in some way or another, either in a business or in real estate, or put it into the stock market. It's kind of on the dip. It might be a good time to buy, but we're not going to time the market. It's a whole other issue. But that's what it is. It's called creating the gap. And when you get the gap, you get runway. And then when runway is really just how much money do you have back that you can cover your living expenses for X amount of time. I fortunately right now have enough back to cover my living expenses probably for the rest of my life, I hope. I still work because I'm just that way. It's going to be tough for me to ever stop doing something of value. And to me, of value can be things like helping, well, it's part of my passion right now is to help younger people achieve financial independence, because I know of the change that it's made in my life. It really is, it's liberating. I can't stress it enough. It's about freedom. It's about having a boss sit there and tell you to go do this thing, and you look at him and go, would you explain to me why that's in the company's best interest? And he says to you, I don't care, just go do it because I'm telling you to. And you say, yep, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure. Have a nice day. And out the door, never to come back, because it's about being treated properly, not about, what you're actually doing. So I do all kinds of jobs, and I don't care what sort of work I do, but I want to be treated properly.
So when we go back into your chapter 1, into your childhood, we often hear our parents tell us, save your money, don't spend a lot, get a good job. Is this something that was ingrained in you as a child and you learned financial habits early on, or did you have to learn this later on in your life?
In my case, it was ingrained in me early on. It fell to the wayside for a while, and then it came back as I was back doing analysis on it. So parents were children of the Depression, right? So they were literally born during the Great Depression. They grew up during World War II. It was a time when frugality was looked on as actually really being virtuous. And I don't know that we think that today here in America. But it was considered virtuous, and they passed that on to my brother and I, and we both were frugal. But at the same time, as we got older and we started making money, we kind of fell into the trap a little bit of the consumerism lifestyle, having the bigger house, having having the stuff and having all the toys. And I'm not against having any of the toys and things. It's just, how do you pay for them, right? If you can write a check, it's a little different than financing. So for me, I like, I have my toys and I use my toys. And that's the other thing. Do you use them or not? Because if you go out and you buy the camper and you find out you take it out one time a year and you have to pay storage on it all this time and all of that kind of stuff, you find out it's a pretty expensive thing, and hotel rooms are a lot less expensive.
There you go. So you mentioned that it went to the wayside for a while there. What happened?
I was young.
Yeah.
I was literally just kind of buying into what society was telling me to do. And it just was kind of one of those things. And fortunately, I kept enough of the logical sense in me that it didn't break me. I didn't get $1 billion into debt or anything like that. But I spent, looking back on it now, I spent money I shouldn't have spent on things that I shouldn't have spent money on. I should have saved that money. It would have been better off to just save that money. So.
Right. And you, at a point where you reached this young adult life, you had a traditional 9-to-5 job, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so how long did you do that before you started your journey into entrepreneurship?
Well, so as you have said, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I will tell you I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business, I think I was 11, maybe younger than that.
Look at that.
Yeah, kind of like your son, by the way, which is a story you should tell sometime. But I actually sold. I had a great distribution method when I think back on it. I was back in the day when they had lunchrooms and you had the lunch lady. I was selling blow pops, and I don't even know if they still make those, but I was buying blow pops for a nickel, selling them for a dime, and the lunch lady was actually distributing them for me because I couldn't get up from my chair at lunch. So she would come over and she would take the blow pop, she would go get the money and come back, and she would do that. She actually spent most of her time of her lunch period doing that, which is part of where I learned about government regulation, because shortly thereafter, the principal called myself and my father into the principal's office and told me I needed to cease and desist because it was not fair. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that was like at a really young age. That's what I learned about, learned about entrepreneurship and also doing things, more or less towards the way you're supposed to do things on the rules. But that's it. I've had a business running. My very first job that I had, I actually worked for my dad, but he paid me piece rate. So, and what piece rate is that you get paid per individual piece that you prepare. And so he owned a bicycle shop and he paid me to put bicycles together. And I'll never forget it because I got really good at being good at my job where I could put them together very quickly with a high level of quality. And it just got really good. And I was making little systems to make it faster, like color coding sockets and stuff so that I could tell which one I needed. I knew what I needed in my head, but finding it on the bench was a different thing. And so if you put a red piece of tape on one and a green piece of tape on the other one, you knew which size they were by visual and you didn't have to think about it, right? So boom, you say quarter of a minute, you say 15 seconds here and 15 seconds there. And then as you got at the end of the day, that equated to another bicycle that you put together, which was more money that you made. So you learn to optimize, if you want to call it that. You learn how to do that sort of stuff. So I've had a business basically, probably since I was 20. So I had a job and then today we call it side hustles, right? So I had a side hustle going on all the time.
Oh, look at that. And so when you think about this word optimizing, and we look at those who are still in their career and looking at making a transition into entrepreneurship, how would you advise them to optimize what they do have within their career and prepare for as successful as a transition as you could possibly get into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing that I've seen over the years that people do that I consider it to be a mistake is they don't work their entrepreneurial venture. It's a couple of things, but the biggest one is they don't work their entrepreneurial venture in parallel with their job. So they tend to quit and try to go full hog into the entrepreneurial venture, which is great, except there's always the exception. If you don't do the research while you're still working and you cut your income level off and then you find out that your entrepreneurial venture won't work, you've got an issue. And then you're going back into the workplace and then you're kind of behind the eight ball. So if you do your research, at least your research, and research is more than just research. In reality, a business is to create a customer that is profitable, right? A profitable customer, right? So one of the biggest things is like people want to open a restaurant and they say, man, I've got the best, whatever cake, right? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You can use any many things. I've got the best cake and it's going to sell like crazy. And they go out and what they find is they think it's the best cake. And so does their family and their friends and everybody else. But the world does not think it's the best cake. And today, especially with the internet, we've had this discussion prior, but the people don't understand how valuable the internet is. You can build a website for free out there. You can build that website. You can go sell your cake before you ever invest $1 into building that cake. You can build a free website and you can test it, and you have to test it and you test it. And then you figure out how much am I actually going to make and all of that kind of thing, because don't assume that just because you make it, it's profitable, right? It's profitable. It just means that you can make it and sell it, but it has to be sold at a profit for you to continue the thing. So if you're giving advice to somebody that wants to transfer into entrepreneurship, do it gradually and just make sure the numbers work. And I can't stress part of this is the financial journey, the financial independence journey. Know your numbers, know your numbers, know your numbers, know your numbers. And did I say know your numbers?
When you say know your numbers too, it's something that we don't often think about, but seeing our numbers in the big picture perspective, because that's a big part of FFI, right? It's understanding how your numbers fit into your month to month, your year to year, and when you can finally be done with having to clock in to work for someone else and choose to do something for your own life. And
that's the same in entrepreneurship, right? Life is really about cash flow. It's not about how much you make. You can make... I personally know people with net worth in the many millions of dollars, yet they can't pay their bills every month. Now, their net is sell their assets to actually pay their bills. This is backing up, right? This is going backwards. And so when you have cash flow is how much money you bring in minus your expenses is your cash flow. So if you bring in $100,000 a year and you spend $99,000 a year, why don't you just go get a job that pays you $1,000 as a salary? You're better off in so many ways because you're a lot less harder. So there's that. When I say know your numbers, everybody knows. Let me ask you a question. This is a question I'm asking to you, and it doesn't matter. This is applicable to your audience. You know you might not know. When you work a W-2 job, you know how much you bring in, right?
Yes.
It's X, right? It's whatever.
Hmm.
Do you know how much you spend on a daily basis?
Yes, we do. Thanks to the FI journey, I had to sit down and break that down apart.
Before you got involved in FI, did you, and before you got involved in entrepreneurship, did you know how much you spent?
Larry, when we sat down and we started, even just on a monthly basis, our mouths hit the floor just looking at even how much, okay, and I'm a big picture thinker. Here I am, I take pride in saying I really do think about my life in the sense of this big picture perspective and what it means, but never had I really taken the time to not just every once in a while, every few years look at this, but to look at it on a monthly basis, to look at here's what we're bringing in. Here's it sounds so simple. It sounds so basic. And that's
It
the
is
thing.
simple, but it doesn't get done, right?
So why are the basics so difficult for us to grasp? Because you would think it's like, and I say this from time to time, it's like when someone loses weight and someone else comes and goes, "What did you do?" It's like we're expecting this magical formula of I took this special pill who made this magic appear. And no, it's always exercise and what we eat. It's very simple at the end of the day. But for me, when I saw how much we had going out in restaurants and coffee, it was a life changer. And not only that, but all of a sudden we got super aggressive with investing. I mean, we increased our savings rate to where we were investing 50 to 60% of our income into stocks, and we reduced our cost of living dramatically. And that is something that I never stopped to do prior to. And I had to ask myself, why? Why didn't I? You think these are so basic.
Because nobody ever gave you the magic equation, right? Nobody did what we're doing right now. And we're telling people, look, I always tell people, look at your expense side. We know what everybody knows what they make. Most everybody, it's a little different when you're an entrepreneur like you and I are, where we kind of, we work on it's tough for me to go month to month. I can go month to month, but it's tougher I can go yearly easy. It's tough for me to go week to week or day to day on the income side, because it just depends what I'm doing on any given day. If I've got a job today, I'm in the chips, as you want to call it. I'm making money. If I don't have a job today, but I look at it monthly and then yearly, and I know where I'm going to be monthly and yearly really pretty closely, like almost, within a couple of $1,000 on an average basis. But it's the expense side that can eat you alive. And you used a good one. You used coffee. Now, I used to be in the vending business, and we've had that discussion. I own a vending company, and I had about 350 vending machines, snacks, and sodas. And I always say this, and I'm not in the business anymore, but I always say this: we made our money in pennies, right? Number one. But the second thing was we took everybody's discretionary pennies, right? So they'd have 50 cents in their pocket or $1 in their pocket, and they'd come and buy a soda every day. We had one customer at one time in the vending business. This customer left the job that he was working at, and our gross sales went down $20 a week. This guy was buying $20 worth of snack food a week, and you do the math, that's over $1,000 worth of snack food a year that he was spending to do himself what favor? None, because the snack food is not healthy. It's not that. Now, I'm not knocking snack foods, because I was in the business. We offer, it's called refreshment, where they don't have to leave the building to go get refreshment and things. And particularly, we did a lot of blue collar stuff, so it was really hot, and guys needed Gatorade and they needed that kind of stuff. So I don't have a problem in selling the snacks. But what I saw is that that's what we took. We took everybody's discretionary pennies. And if you're a coffee drinker or you're a soda drinker, if you just do it for a week and you find out how much you spend on coffee, you might start brewing it at home, right? Because you can buy a pot of coffee for 50 cents to $1, depending on what you're drinking.
Yeah.
And how much does a coffee at Quick Trip cost? Just Quick Trip is a local convenience store. They're kind of all over the country. But, it's $1.50 for a cup versus a pot. And like you, I drink a lot.
And I wonder too if part of it too is because we're going off of this narrative that we are going to retire at 65 and we are just going to continue working those years and years of our life giving to our work, and we think on a year by year or day by day basis it's covered, we're fine right now. But when I learned the idea that you could do this in a smaller define of time, and we set our target to 10 years, and I thought, well, here's what 10 to 5 years look like if we do X, Y, or Z, right? Depending upon how aggressive we want to be with it. And now it really started to make sense and how these numbers fit into that big picture.
Yeah,
Because
it's the
I
big
never,
picture numbers, right?
I never adjusted my timeline though. I never thought that my timeline could be adjusted.
It can be, right? And it's really it's just not difficult, but it's knowing your numbers, and there's one other thing that's big in the financial independence community, and it's big. It's big in entrepreneurship as well, and it's big in the rental side too. But that's called intentionality, right? So
Yeah.
we make decisions. I don't work from emotion. I work from intention. So I think things through, and I don't overthink things, but it's just like I go out and I want to be intentional with my spending. And trust me, we spend a lot of money, and we do all that kind of stuff. But we always have choices. And so there's a choice. There's A choice or B choice. I'm going to give you a quick one. So I just went to Hawaii for 12 days. We knew that was going to be expensive. And in the 5 groups, we did a thing called travel hacking. And if you want to look that up, you can go and just type in travel hacking. You'll come up with all kinds of things. We use credit card points. We don't pay any interest on credit cards. We pay all our credit cards off. Anyway, long story short, we get all these mileage points. And we went to Hawaii for 12 days, and it was less than $3,000. And good luck. It's not as incredible as you think. It's 12 days. It was 12 days, and we stayed in really, really nice places. We stayed in one place that was really very easily a 5-star. It was the coolest place. It's called the Mauna Kea. Oh my God. It was like, welcome to the 60s. It just had this incredible vibe. Anyway, we did that for just about $3,000, and most of that was airfare.
Wow.
You can do it. It's not a $10 or $12 or $15,000 trip. It can be a $3,000 trip. And you just have to be creative. You have to use your powers of creativity to get out there. You can do anything you want in being creative. And today with things like, you young, and you have such resources available with the internet. What would you like to learn? What would you like to learn? Would you like to become a handyman? Well, there's this podcast I know a guy does, and he can teach you what you need to do to be or not to be a podcaster, but to be a handyman. Or if you want to do DIY things around your house, same thing. And what do we charge for it? Nothing. Come listen to it, right? handymanpros.com. And come listen to it, and we'll give you tips and tricks and all the kind of things. And I kind of laugh because one of my latest editions was we did a show on hotel key cards, because I'm big on hotel key cards, and we say, what can you use a hotel key card for, right? So it's more than just what you think. It's not just to open the door. But anyway, there's so much available today that was not available in the past, and it's just amazing. We literally in a world of abundance, as they say. It's just huge today. It's huge. Really exciting. It's kind of amazing. So.
Yeah, and it leaves you thinking, what other strategies are out there that we haven't discovered yet?
Unlimited. There's unlimited things. The things that'll come up, some things are farther out on the horizon than others. And there's technological issues, and there's some resources issues and other things. But in general, it's all gonna work out. It really is. It's gonna be amazing. It's an amazing time to be alive. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, right? Mm-hmm. Live today, because today is all you got. Number one, but you've got so much to do. It's like there's not enough time in the day. Besides sleep, gotta have some sleep.
And I'll say for the most of us, when we come into this adult life and we graduate college and get out there in the working world, we never really do an assessment of what do we know and what do we need to know to get to where we want to be, and what do we need to unlearn.
And I want to step back on the college thing. Today, there's huge opportunities for people in the trades. If you're not college oriented, I'm making a quick pitch. If you're not college oriented, please look into a trade school, because a guy coming out, we deal with them all the time, but a guy comes out, not so much on the handyman side, but I know guys that are plumbers and electricians and things. These guys make more than 6 figures. They went to school they actually didn't even go to school. They were paid to go to an apprenticeship. They worked as an apprentice for 18 months and got a 6-figure job getting paid to go to school. Just think about it. Run an ROI.
Yeah.
Right, run an ROI in college. As I've said to you, so for you listeners out there, Shalia has a son who's he's the future budding. What do we want to say? He's probably Elon Musk. You just don't know it yet. This young man is, how old is he?
He's 6 years old.
He's 6 years old, and he is actually going door to door selling. What's he selling? Books? Was it books?
Books.
Yep,
his used books.
This is a young man who probably college might be an afterthought for him. Does not need it. With what he's doing as a young man, as long as he doesn't get beaten down by society, he's done. I mean, he will be so successful, you have no idea. And
Yes.
it really is. It's actually amazing. And he gets socially. You need to put these pictures up on the website. He gets dressed up in his. He's got his outfit on. I was incredibly impressed that here's this 6-year-old. I'm like, wow, this is somebody to watch, man. Look at this young man. He's just awesome. And it makes me touch on one other thing too. If you had to learn, I'm going to ask you this, actually, if you had to learn one skill that's the most important skill to learn through life, what would it be?
I'm going to be a little bit biased here and say leadership, simply because it's our own strategy and how we lead ourselves, right? The impact that we want to create, and whether that's being financially independent, that's raising healthy, conscious children, that's creating work that matters. Before we can do any of that, we have to understand what our own programming is and program it to do the things that we want to do.
True. And then what do you have to do?
Do it. Action.
You have to go do it, and you have to go
action.
sell it.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And you have to go sell it. And I would tell you to learn the sales skills. Now, selling is professional sales. I'm going to qualify this. It's not schlocky sales. We're talking professional sales. Is finding a fit between what your ideas are and what the customer wants and or needs, or your family or your kids or whatever. That's what professional sales is. And learning how to sell professionally is really a skill that you can take anywhere, anytime, and go make more than enough money to live and be very, very happy and things like that. Now, I'm not going to disagree with you. You do need to have leadership, but you're talking internal leadership. You have to lead yourself, and you do have to lead yourself. And what else do you have to have? You have to have belief, right? Your story, which our people don't know about, and if you want to, I've told you, you need to add this story out there somewhere in the world. But Shalia has a very unique set of circumstances. She started out as a very, very young mother, very, very young mother.
Yes.
And Shalia came from, would we call it abject poverty? Pretty close. Pretty close.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she has brought herself out of all of that, and is now, along with doing this podcast, is doing amazing things for her community. She is doing amazing things for herself and her family. And it's a story that I've chide her, but she needs to tell it. She doesn't. She's extremely modest. So she does not tell this story. But when you want to look at a true leader, this is the person. This is the reason she's doing this. This is the reason that you need to delve into her story. And I'll let you tell the story sometime on your own. But that's just my take on it. So when I meet these people, I have to kind of hang around with them because I learn a lot from them, and hopefully they learn something from me, but maybe not. Who knows?
You have to have the belief in yourself to be able to take action, right? And there is a big time in my life where I did not have the belief because I had no role models around me.
Right.
The only belief that I had, the narrative, the story that was being played out in my life, and the script that was supposed to happen, is that I was going to end up living at the poverty level and working at McDonald's and being excited because I got a paycheck, and then go spend it all at the store. And that's all I knew. I had no one in my family in my immediate family who had gone to college or even had a job that paid more than $30,000, much less figured out how to navigate the corporate world, how to navigate entrepreneurship, how to navigate money and stocks and all that. It wasn't even a chapter that we could even begin to even think about based on where we were at. And it was people who were willing to share their own experiences and say, hey, I didn't know either, and I had to figure it out, and I'm putting myself out there, and I made this mistake, and it's actually possible, and this is the impact that we can create through it. The fact that we can change people's lives through it, that makes it worth doing, worth trying, worth fumbling through to figure it out.
And you can do it almost anywhere in the world. We are extremely fortunate that here in the United States of America, we have more opportunity than any other single place in the world that I can think of that I've been to, and around the world to a degree. But we're very, very fortunate here in the States to have that ability to take those kinds of things, and anybody can do it. And somebody has done it. One of the things about your story that just amazes me, when I heard your story, I was like, wow, like you did this, like this is just an amazing thing, but you're a role model for so many people that are in that same situation. You can dig yourself out. You can do it. You can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to get out there and you have to say no. And if you have something to model against, it's that much easier. There's very few things like if you want to go out and start a business, and I don't care what business it is. I did do this one time. I tried to create a market, right? So I went out and I took a product that at the time was really, really brand new. It was mobile oil change services for automotive fleets and truck fleets. And this was back, gosh, when was this? This was back in the 80s. Yeah, it was really, and at that time it was like, oh, you can't do that. You can't even do that. You can't even, today it's common. But at that time it was really, really new. And it was really hard to create that market. I mean, it was hard to go out and create that market. But if today there's 500 companies that have been very, very successful doing it. So you just take their template and you just say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, and this is how we'll get there. And in human experience, all of those things, there's very few original human ideas. You just have to find the sources. And it goes back all the way to ancient history. If you look at ancient Chinese history and you look at ancient European history, there have been tenets put down all across the way, and just go and grab them. I mean, in the States, if you want success on how to be successful, read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The guy studied, at the time, he studied like 500 millionaires at the time, which today would be like studying 500 billionaires. Pretty well lays out exactly what you need to do. It's really not, this is not rocket science, but you have to do it. Right. To your point, you have to do it. You have to get out and do it. So.
You have to get out and do it and know that it's not going to work right away. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to make you turn red in the face, and you're going to probably have to go back and retry it again. And when those moments hit and you have to lead the complexities of it, that's when you really have to have a good, solid foundation in the toolbox of strategies that you use to get through it.
Or resources,
or
meaning other
resources. People. Absolutely. I can say that throughout my story, I was so blessed to always have mentors who helped guide me and really push me. And I think that, when I think back on my story too, and I think of where I'm going as an entrepreneur today, it's so easy to feel the weight of being on the list of Forbes top 30 under 30 and, making the company successful within 1 year, it's $1 million status. And you hear all these stories all the time. And I really get where my success stems from is when I can create this profitable and valuable business, but I can go back and go back to those communities where I once grew up and have those kids who can see themselves through my story and say, I did this. I went to this place that I thought we could never go to, and I can show them a picture and we can get giddy about it. And that is my moment right there.
And then you can walk them through all the hardships that they're going to face, because there's always challenges, right? We call them challenges. We don't call them problems because they're just challenges, right? But you can get through it. It's there. You can get through it. If other people have done it, you can too. I'm going to plug one of my favorite podcasts. This is along with Handyman Pros Radio Show, which is awesome. I'm actually going to be a guest on another podcast called the You Can Man podcast. And their tagline is, if a man can do it, you can too. And I love that. I love that name because it's just, and man or woman, right? So they use it as man. But, and if you hear the genesis of how they came up with that name, and Tim talks about it on his show, but it's just fantastic because it's absolutely, if somebody's done it, you can do it. The question is, do you want to? Do you really, really want to? Because it's never easy, right? It's never what we see. The person that gets to the 30 under 30 list on Forbes, if you study those people, how long have they been in business? Do you know? Usually 20 years. Right? I love to use Michael Jackson because I'm old, right? So back in the day, Michael Jackson and his brothers did a thing called the Jackson 5. This was in the very early 70s, and they were hugely successful at that time. I mean, huge, mega stars. But their dad worked in the music business for his whole life. So they took their dad's experience and went off and did the Jackson 5 and made boatloads of money. And then you kind of didn't hear about Michael Jackson for a while till he was about 20 years old. Well, at that time, he had 15 years in the business, right? So he'd been in the music business for 15 years, and he came out with Thriller, and he came out with a few other things and went on to have these other massive successes. But everybody goes, oh, he's kind of overnight, like, oh yeah, he had that thing back in the 70s. That was just it. It was just that little thing back in the 70s. And he was 5 years old, and it's like, yeah, but now he's an adult. Look, he's this mega superstar. It's like, no, he worked for 20 freaking years to get there, right? And you didn't see it. You don't see it, right? You don't see what people do on a day-to-day basis. They're not sitting in their closet recording podcasts. No disrespect, because you're not in your closet. But we're also not in a studio, right? Yeah. But so I mean, we're out here. Who's up late at night writing articles for the blog? Who's up at who's at Home Depot and Lowe's at 6 o'clock in the morning so they can beat the crowds to get their supplies to get to the job by 7 o'clock and not have to deal with, crowds time, right? That's me. That's a story out of my life. But those are the things that you have to do. Is it glamorous? Is it fun? No, but it's what you have to do. You have to do things that are part of the job. And be this about anybody that's successful. Ask them about their story and find out about the things that really were challenging for them over their lives. Like, because it's never, 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 never easy. It's never easy. It's not insurmountable, but it's not easy. It's just, it is what it is. And I'm not painting doom and gloom, because trust me, it's a great ride. It's fantastic. When you get done, ask you a question, same question. Do you feel proud about what you've created? Oh, absolutely. Right. It's like amazing. It's like this amazing. It's amazing. It's like, I don't even know how to describe the feeling, right? I know when I do construction projects and I get done with a project and the customer goes, oh my God, it's exactly what I want. I just sit there and I go, yes, like this is just feeling like I created that, and they love it. It's like, that's an amazing feeling. So it's all about that kind of stuff. And on the converse side, when they go, I hate it, I'm not paying you, you go, oh, well, next. It's like,
Exactly. And going back to the whole mindset mentality and having to actually do something, when you choose to not do something, it's an action in itself. It's a strategy in itself. If you choose to be an alcoholic and live under a bridge for the rest of your life, you are suppressing pain. You are choosing to avoid it. You are choosing to numb it. It will lead you somewhere. It is a strategy, maybe ineffective, but nonetheless, it is a strategy. And it's the choice of, do you want to use your strategy to provide you the impact, not just in your own life, but in the life of those all around you? Because our legacy affects those. It affects our children. It affects our marriages. And we're not going to be here forever at the end of the day. Right. And
speak for yourself. I'm working on that one too.
Well, look, when you find that magic fountain of youth, please do share its location.
I shall. Trust me.
Okay, Larry. So in retrospect, you've really accomplished a lot of phenomenal things in your life. You've raised 2 beautiful children. You have a beautiful marriage. You're exploring the world. You're exploring your business. And you get to this point where you get to look back in it and in retrospect think, would you have positioned yourself or done anything differently in life to get to where you are now, knowing what you know now, though, right? With all the experiences taken into consideration? Or would you do anything differently in optimizing your life? Would you have done something different in your career or in the beginning seasons of your entrepreneurship, knowing what you know now?
Oh, all right. Yeah. I mean, so let me answer these because there's a couple of different issues that are going on here. So number one, the first thing that I would do in my career, as far as things go, is I would have kept to my original savings plan, which my original savings plan was I was going to put money, power of compounding interest and that kind of thing, and being more intentional. Now, could I have actually done that with what I know today? I doubt it, because it was that combination of experiences that brought me to where I am today. So that's kind of that 2020 hindsight. Like, you look back and go, oh, if I had done this, it would have been this way. In true regrets, when you get to be a little bit older, if you have, the only true regret I have is one. I really only have one true regret, and that was in 1988. My father was diagnosed with cancer, and at that point in my life, I had an opportunity that I could have moved into the town that he was living in and could have spent what at the time would have been the last 2 years of his life with him. That is probably my only true regret. Yeah. Did not exercise that option, but I was at a point in my life where I was on the climb, in the corporate life, and also the entrepreneurial side. The business was doing really, really well. And it was a decision that at the time it seemed like the right thing to do. At this point in my life, I look back and go, should have moved, should have taken a quick period of time and done that. But again, looking at it forward, we didn't know if he was going to go into remission. We didn't know all of the things that are involved in that kind of unknown situation. But that's the only regret I have in my life. Everything else, yes, there's things that I would change if I had known in advance and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have any actual regrets other than that. And that just was a judgment call at the time. And I don't beat myself up over it, right? Don't beat yourself up over your choices that you've made in the past, because the past is the past and it's done. Just manage it today and fix it, and don't do it again. So we've been faced with that kind of situation with other closer family members, and we in turn took that time and actually went and stayed with the people for periods of time to get that personal relationship and understand that we were there for people. And I don't feel that I wasn't there for my dad. Don't get me wrong. It's not that, but we spent some more personal time. While particularly in my case, my dad started he had lung cancer that metastasized into his brain. And so he kind of started to lose And in the process of losing it, it wasn't really important for me to be with him because he didn't remember it. So it really didn't matter in that sense. But other people in my life, people that have had pancreatic cancer and things, to go spend time with him because it's short, and it's going to be done. So a good week with him, you have a fantastic experience, and then it is what it is. You're not going to, it's unfortunate about life. You're not going to get out of it alive, right? Go do those things. So anyway, so that's really, those are the only two things, in career, just work that compounding interest, put your money away, build that gap, build the runway, as they say, and just enjoy it, because it's really, life is short and it's a great experience. It's tons of fun. So
it is. And as you said, it is a great time to be alive.
It is a great time to be alive.
So as we wrap up the show, we love to have our guest experts leave our audience with a challenge. What challenge, based on our conversation, would you leave our audience with today?
The challenge I will leave people with today is take action, and before you take action, be intentional. Take intentional action. Let's call it that. Intentional action. Think something through. Sit down before you want to do anything. And I don't care if it's going to the store, right? Think about, if I go to the store, what's going to happen today? If I go to the store at 6 o'clock this afternoon, how many people are going to be in the store? What is the parking going to be like? What is the situation with the carts? What are all of the ingredients that go into it? Versus if I go to the store at 6 o'clock, or let's say they're open at 6 o'clock in the morning. I go at 6 o'clock in the morning. What's the parking? What's the cart situation? How many people are there to work for me? And life optimization strategy, basically. And if you go, and I'll tell you the difference, you're going to have tons of people in the store at 6 o'clock at night. You're not going to be able to get a cart or a place to park, but you go at 6 o'clock in the morning, surprise, the store is yours. And people will wait on you and they will help you. And I guess it's somewhat of a contrarian attitude, but it's just, you just have to be intentional, think about things, and then take action. But think about it, because there's very little that if you extrapolate out through a long period of time, you can actually almost see it in your mind. You can go through and you can say, okay, so, because right now, when I told you that story about going to the grocery store, where were you? You were sitting in the car thinking about what's going on, as I tell you.
Yes.
And you're going, oh, he's right. When I told you at 6 o'clock.
I'm thinking, my husband's the one telling me to don't go to the store during rush hour.
See? So there you go. But it's just little things, because at time you can't get it back, right? Now you have to do it, right? You have to go to the store. Got to go to the store.
Yeah.
Got to buy food for the family and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't matter who it is, but somebody in the family's got to go buy food. And the question is, do you make it really quick and really, efficient, if you want to call it? Do you optimize it? And trust me, I'm not telling people don't go to the store. If you really enjoy that, if you enjoy all of that, you see people that you know at the store and it becomes kind of a social event, hey man, do it. That's cool. Totally okay with that. But if you're just like me, like for me, grocery store, I want in and out. Like, boom, I want to get in, get my stuff, get out. That's just the way I am. I don't want to hang out at the grocery store. It's like, it's a necessary evil. So I'm going to optimize. I'm either going to do it then, or I'm going to do it middle of the day when nobody's there. That's just kind of my thing. But you can think of those things. You can think about that in advance. You don't have to. This just takes you using your mind to think things through, right? Think things, right? And then take action. So that's my that's my challenge to people.
Intentional action for life optimization.
There you go. I like it. I'll buy that
I
website.
know, right?
It'll be mine. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so how can our audience learn more about you and your work and get in contact with you?
Let's see. We'll give you a couple of different sources. So as I've said a couple of times, we have the handymanprosradioshow.com, and that is a website, and it also is a podcast. And what we talk about is do-it-yourself things. I also have another website. If you're in the Atlanta area and you're interested in a handyman service, it's hssgi.com, and that stands for Handyman Services by Service Group International. And both there's websites both posted on, email addresses and phone numbers posted on both of those sites. So if you want to get a hold of me, those are really going to be the best ways. Or you can just send it to handymanprosradioshow@gmail.com also. It all works. So.
And I'll be sure to include that in the show notes.
Perfect.
To our listeners, the ball is in your court. I challenge you to take action, intentional action, as a matter of fact. Continue the conversation and reach out to Larry to partner with him in your journey. You are listening to Flipping the Script, Leadership Beyond the Title. We'll see you on our next episode. If you found even the smallest nugget of wisdom in this episode, share it with a friend and your friend will thank you. Let's continue the conversation with like-minded leaders and join us on Facebook at Go Flip the Script. Until next time, I challenge you to incorporate what you learned today to evolve your leadership impact.